Hopefully we're in the right live. Yes. Hi everybody. Sorry I'm late. I was trying to get on early tonight, but I had something I had to take care of. So, hi Captain Lee fan and Batman. Hi Margot. Hi Linda. I better turn on live chat. Hi Heart Made Wise. Hi Sunkissed. Hi Lady Elaine. I did send, just a little housekeeping, did send some of you invoices. So I know I sent Rough and Ready some, Lisa L, Mary Warren, Lady Elaine, I think you have something for your quilt, for your quilt. And LMNW50, I know you have some. Hi Farm Wife. Trying to think who else did I send out. That's about it right now, I think. Hi Flower Girl Phillips. Hi Larky. Hi Elise K. Nicole. Debbie L. Tomorrow we're having another sale. It'll probably be around the same time, 9 or so. I think, yeah. I try to play things by ear so much. It was a beautiful day here. Went for another walk. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees in Washington, D.C. on Monday. So, yeah. I don't know if you guys remember the Christmas... let's see when it was. Probably 2017 or so, maybe. But it was balmy on Christmas Day, and like stuff was starting to bloom. It was crazy. Everything was so whacked. Hi, Liz Tops. All right, so let's talk about true crime, and then after this, we're going to go into the real estate game. So the first thing is that OnlyFans model. A lot of stuff is coming out about her. It's coming out about her that she had called her boyfriend racial slurs and that she was hitting him in the elevator. But now it's come out that she has stabbed him before the fatal stabbing. So Courtney Clenny stabbed her boyfriend to death last April. But it wasn't the first time she attacked him. We saw other incidents, right, so far. But now, according to a text message with Christian Toby Obumseli's iCloud account, according to his messages, and that's the boyfriend, Courtney stabbed him in the leg so badly when they still lived in Texas that he struggled to walk. Now, she's lucky she didn't hit that femoral artery, okay, because that would have ended his life much earlier than it did. But they obtained them in a records request. And the following day, he said that she hit him in the head so hard, he believed he had a concussion. So there's a history and a pattern of her physically abusing him. But she also verbally abused him, called him racial slurs and stuff like that. In January, Obumseli said he had 2 cuts to the cheek and the chin, and he documented those in photos. Those wounds sent him to the hospital for stitches. Is love going to kill me? He wrote to her weeks before his death. February was the worst month I've had so far. I got cheated on. I got called that word again. I got slapped in my stitches that have reopened multiple times, and it's not healing fast enough. Now, Courtney, 26, was arrested in Hawaii this summer and charged with second-degree murder in Obumseli's death. Prosecutors said at the time of her arrest that she was the abuser in the couple's on-again, off-again relationship, while the defense attorneys were trying to say that Obumseli was the abuser and that she stabbed him in self-defense. Well, that's not looking too good, Courtney. Courtney's attorneys, Frank Prieto and Sabrina Puglisi, said that the evidence released by prosecutors is one-sided. And I quote them saying, it's missing context. The most sensational pieces of evidence are being cherry-picked by reporters without proper context to feed the public's curiosity with the case. What is so clear to us is that the evidence shows the extreme emotions and dysfunction of a relationship off the rails. Prosecutors released secret recordings Obomseli made of Courtney's outburst towards him. In the documents, Courtney apologized for hitting Christian Obomseli in the face and the back of his head with her phone, adding, "You just piss me off, but I still love you." Later, she apologized for not coming to the hospital when he got stitches. "I feel extreme regret, sadness, and humiliation, and I'm so sorry for hurting you," she wrote. Yeah, this is not looking good for you, Courtney. Okay. And then we have small town mayor who was road raging, allegedly. The mayor of a small Oregon town was arrested this week after he allegedly shot at a car carrying a family in an apparent road rage incident. That's your mayor. The Hood County Sheriff's Office said that the family was traveling on Highway 281 Monday night shortly before 9 p.m. behind an SUV that was driving erratically. When the SUV abruptly pulled over, the driver of the family vehicle slowed to get a description and report the erratic driving to police. As the family passed the SUV, a man got out of the passenger side and fired several rounds at the family car. The 2 adults and the 2 children, ages 5 and 8, were uninjured, thankfully. On Tuesday, the sheriff's office identified the suspect's vehicle as well as the shooter. It was Dowen Jones, the mayor of the city of Rufus, a tiny town of less than 300 people east of Portland. Jones was arrested on account of attempted murder and 4 counts of attempted assault and booked into the Northern Oregon Regional Corrections in the Dales. Jones's term as mayor expires at the end of the year, and the city declined to comment. Jones is being held on a $100,000 bond and is due back in court on November 10th. Great. I'm sure they're very proud of their mayor. Now, there's something going on here that the Parkland school shooter, Nicholas Cruz's attorney, flipped the bird in court. And I'll throw up a picture. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. So one of the attorneys that represented Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooter Nicholas Cruz, who killed 17 people in 2018, is being investigated by the Florida Bar Association weeks after she was apparently filmed flashing the middle finger in court. Tamara Curtis was being investigated, but they did not disclose the probe scope. During a pretrial hearing, Curtis was reportedly seen raising her middle finger while rubbing her cheek, eliciting laughs from herself and Cruz. Fred Gutenberg, the father of the victim, Jamie Gutenberg, 14, suggested that Curtis made the gesture after being frustrated with some of the judge's rulings. Last month, a jury recommended life in prison for Nicholas Cruz, 24, who killed 14 students and 3 school employees, as jurors did not unanimously recommend the death penalty. That moment was disgusting, immature, and reprehensible, the father tweeted. It was also a reminder to me that this defense team long ago lost any humanity for the victims of this crime. News of the probe involving Curtis comes on Thursday, a day after Cruz was formally sentenced to life without parole. Curtis was not in court when Judge Elizabeth Scheer handed down 34 consecutive life sentences. So, wow, really unbelievable. It's just a testament to how people have just really lost their moral compass. Okay. Now let me go to The other thing, which one should we do next? Let's talk about Lucy Letby. Let me grab her, what happened in court today. Okay, is this for, yeah. Okay, an experienced neonatal nurse was struck by a rash that appeared on an allegedly murdered baby, and she told the court, "You don't really get rashes on babies." The girl, referred to as Child D, was said to be the third child murdered by the nurse, Lucy Letby, in a 2-week period, with another youngster suffering a life-threatening collapse during that same time. She's on trial for the murder of 7 babies and attempted murder of 10 others at Countess of Chester Hospital, and this occurred between June 2015 and June 2016. She's pled not guilty to all charges. Oh, hold on a minute. Let me get her hang on. Let me get her up there so that way you know who we're talking about. Sorry. She's on trial for the murder of 7 babies, attempted murder of 10 others at the Countess of Chester Hospital between June 2015 and June 2016. She is pled guilty, not guilty to all charges. Carolyn Oakley told the Manchester Crown Court that she had previously never seen the unusual rash in any newborn infant. Miss Oakley was the designated nurse for Child D in the neonatal unit on the night shift of June 21st, 2015. Lucy Letby was assigned to 2 other babies in the same intensive care room. Miss Oakley said that Child D was stable when she first came on the shift at 8 p.m. and up to 1:30 a.m. on June 22nd. She said, "I remember being very happy with her, but the child suffered 2 episodes when her oxygen levels dropped, and she was pronounced dead just hours later." The prosecution claims that she was given a lethal injection of air by Lucy Letby. And again, this nurse said the rash struck her. Given evidence from behind the screen, Miss Oakley said, "I remember being on my break. I had only been gone a half an hour. I remember going into the nursery and saying, 'What's happening?'" Her nursing notes recorded that Child D's oxygen levels had dropped and she had lost color. She also recorded discoloration to skin observed, trunk, legs, arms, and chin. Miss Oakley said, "I don't remember specifically that exact rash, but I remember I had not seen it before. It was dark. It was unusual. The rash struck me. I had not seen that on a baby I had looked after." She went on to say, "I struggle to describe it. I remember it as a deep red-brown, but different to mottling. Sometimes when a baby is poorly, they lose color and they have a mottled appearance all over. Where this was just a rash, specifically in those places, that's what stayed with me. You really don't see rashes on babies." The child initially responded to treatment and the rash was resolved, but at 3 a.m. the baby's oxygen levels again decreased. Ms. Oakley said her memory of the alert was just a blur. She said, "I remember it being very busy. I don't know exactly where I was. I could have been in the room or just outside of the room in the nursing station. I don't have a clear memory." Ben Myers, KC, defending Letby, asked the witness, "Round about the time this happened, was there some discussion on the unit that people had seen an unusual rash on one or more of the babies?" And the nurse, Miss Oakley, replied, "I do remember that." Mr. Myers said, "Are people comparing their recollections of what they had seen in other babies?" Mrs. Oakley said, "I can't remember the specifics, but people had commented on a different rash recently." So it's seeming like it was mostly Mrs. Oakley's testimony, but let me just go over here and see how this was. I guess it was There's a little more. We can go in. Okay. The observation. So yes, it was all. Mrs. Oakley said she remembered being very happy. The nurse said that child's D circulation was not 100% brilliant at that point, but that was common in newborn babies. The notes record that child D was reviewed by Dr. Andrew Brunton. The decision was made to commence feeds and increased as tolerated with expressed breast milk. Blood gas readings were taken at 11:52 and 1:14 a.m. and they were satisfactory. So then the baby she just goes on to describe how the baby was doing well, declined the rash, then the baby crashes and is unable to be resuscitated. And let's see, I think that was... And of course, Lucy Letby is there when this is happening. I'm trying to see if she says... Mr. Myers refers to the 1:30 a.m. collapse of child D. Miss Oakley says it was a short distance from the resuscitation room to the room 1 and does not recall who came to get her. The attorney, who is Mr. Myers for Lucy Letby, said that child D responded well to the oxygen and no resuscitation was required, and Mrs. Oakley agreed. And then she referred to the skin discoloration. Okay, we already went through that. And then she said there was an episode which reads 10:28, let's see. Resolved quickly and resulted in the decision to take child D off the CPAP machine. And the attorney asked her if there had been a discussion about child D's breathing difficulties that day. Mrs. Oakley said she doesn't remember. She said she believes if the desaturations had gone to the 70s, the alarms would have gone off. The 3:45 a.m. collapse was being referred to at that point, and the attorney said child D had just been taken off the CPAP, and the nurse said, honestly, you would have to check the times for me. She was stable in between 2 times, definitely. Mr. Myers said there is a more marked deterioration as child D stopped breathing, and Nurse Oakley called for help. She agreed. And it said the prosecution, once more led by Simon Driver, asked about the discoloration of the child D's skin at 1:30 a.m. He asked what it was that struck her about the rash. She said, I had not seen it before. He asks, did it change at 3 a.m.? And she replies the rash was not as pronounced, not as bad, but she was not expecting child D to deteriorate again. She says that she previously experienced the mottled appearance babies get, but this was not it. And then, let's see where they go to the... That's where they ended. You say some of what... You said some of that was what you had been told had happened, and Mrs. Oakley said that the oral suctions referred to what was being done to child D before she arrived back in room 1. The part of the notes from discolorations to skin observed were her own observations. And the trial will continue on Monday. So that's what we have in that portion. And then we forgot to do something last night. We were supposed to cover the death of Vaughn McRae. Now, you might remember this summer we were covering Dre McCray, and her husband had committed suicide, attempted to commit suicide in an outbuilding of their house. He was cut down, but he was in a coma. They said he was brain dead. You know all the, I don't know, maybe you don't know. Dre McCray, Andrea McRae, was a YouTube creator, and she does Facebook Lives, and she was having falling outs with his family, and she was a controversial YouTube creator and took a bunch of substances. I'm trying to get their photo up. Hang on. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So Vaughn was in this coma for all of these months, and it went back and forth between his mother not being allowed to see him and his mother being allowed to see him. And he passed away. Let me get his picture right here. And his obituary was, hold on. Here, let's see. Why is this, something is doing this? I'm going to bring up the obituary for some reason. Hold on. So he was 29 years old, a U.S. Marine. Let's see what day he passed away. No, this is not pulling up for me for some reason. I don't know why. Something's wrong with the site or something. Let me try it again. This is really weird. Okay, let me go over here. Let me go to Twitter. What is going on here? Doesn't anybody know why? Is there something? Don't even tell me that is this a hoax? Yeah.
They took those articles down because they said it wasn't a verified source.
But he died,
and
right?
Well, we're not sure if he has passed or not. People are trying to find out. His own parents don't even know.
What?
Yeah. So I think Dre is trying to.
Oh my gosh! Are you serious?
We don't know what's going on. It's kind of up in the air.
I heard that the parents were going somewhere with someone and that he passed.
Mm-hmm.
That's now his parents don't even know?
No, apparently
Wow.
The dad got a hold of the rumor sometime today and trying to get to the bottom of what's going on.
Okay, that's really something. Okay, well,
Yeah.
all right, well, we'll go off on the next one. We'll see what we can find out on that. Yeah, because we were supposed to cover that last night, and that stuff was all there last night, and I guess now it's not. So,
Right.
All right, we'll hold off until we find out what's going on there. And let's see what is going on. The deliberation has begun in the Michael Valva. Let me put this up here. For little Thomas Valva. So the Suffolk County jury in New York is deliberating in connection with the murder of 8-year-old Thomas Valva. His father's an ex-cop standing accused on trial for killing him by putting him and making him sleep in a unheated garage when the weather had plummeted to 19 degrees outside their Long Island home. He had a 10-year-old brother, has a 10-year-old brother, Anthony, who was also forced to sleep in that garage. They both are autistic. They would go to school with scratches, bruises. They had to resort to wearing pull-ups because they were unable to control their bodily functions. They were eating food off the floor. One of them had lost 20 pounds. Another one had only gained, I think, like a pound in the entire year. Valva's lawyers trying to blame everything on Angela Polina, who is this stepmother, 45 years old. She's a co-defendant. Her trial hasn't begun. During closing arguments, Valva's defense lawyer, Anthony LaPinta reiterated that Valva never wanted his son to die and said, yes, you could accuse him of being a terrible dad, doing horrible things, but he never wanted his son to die, etc., and trying to get him convicted on a lesser charge. So, as far as I know, they have not returned the verdict. We went over closing arguments yesterday, if you want to look at the video from yesterday, but let me just see if we... So they took the weekend, and I don't know... Oh, wait a second. Hold on. He was found guilty Friday night. So he was reached. Good for that. I mean, yeah, it was horrible. Verdict was reached Friday night, 22 minutes ago. This just came out. Against the former NYPD officer accused in the death of his 8-year-old son. You could hear a pin drop as the verdict was read, then a gasp. Guilty of murdering his 8-year-old son. You know what? They put... what did they put here? Okay, they must have rushed to get this out here. They didn't put this. Who had autism. The most important result of this was justice for Tommy. One woman said this type of torture was allowed to go on for so many years. Another woman said this unbelievable tragedy of this case, a small measure of justice. Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney said, in the months leading up to the death from hypothermia, 8-year-old Tommy was subjected to unspeakable cruelties, including starvation, beatings, and emotional abuse. Yet the defense argued, despite parental deficiencies, Michael did not want Thomas to die. There was a significant amount of evidence against our client, and so we understand the verdict. We are disappointed in the verdict, said John Laturco, defense attorney. Valva's lawyers claim that the ex-cop was controlled by his domineering fiancée, Angela Polina, who despised Valva's sons, Thomas and 10-year-old Anthony, because they were on the autism spectrum. After they moved into the Bittersweet Lane home in Center Moriches with her daughters, and the two brothers suffered from incontinence, it was Polina's idea to banish them to the garage. And when they had toilet accidents, Valva texted, okay, I'll beat them up again. Talking don't work. Maybe a bloody face will. Jurors appeared overcome with evidence, photos, and videos of the boys shivering on the concrete floor, eating off paper plates, sleeping in sub-zero temperatures without pillows or blankets. On the freezing January morning, Thomas died. The ADA said he had toilet issues. His dad hosed him off naked in the backyard. Thomas stumbled and fell on his face. Valva can be heard saying on the security camera, he's cold, boo, explicative who. When Valva called 911, he told the operator, my name is Michael. I'm a police officer with the city of New York. My son, I don't know if he's breathing or not. I don't know if his heart stopped. He fell down on his way to the bus. He banged his head pretty good. I brought him in. I'm doing CPR now. Thomas was dead with a body temperature of 76 degrees. The defense team argued it was not intentional, depraved indifference, and asked the jury to convict on the lesser of 3 charges, criminally negligent homicide. They argued that Valva was overwhelmed emotionally and financially after a contentious custody battle with his ex-wife, who was not present at the trial as she is suing the county. When police came to arrest Valva and Polina, they were in bed together. Tommy's backpack with personal notes and art lay untouched on the garage floor. The ADA, Carrie Ann Kelly, spoke to a hushed courtroom and said the kind of belonging that any loving, grieving parent would have latched onto, it meant nothing to him, just like Thomas. Thomas's 2 brothers are back in the custody of their mother. Angela Polina's trial is due to begin in January as this heart-wrenching saga continues. Okay, and then the Suffolk County DA issued a statement saying Today, the jury has spoken on the tragic murder of Thomas Valva by his father, the defendant Michael Valva. The guilty verdict will not bring back 8-year-old Thomas, who suffered immense cruelty at the hands of his father, the same person who was entrusted to protect, provide, and unconditionally love Thomas and his older brother Anthony. This case is heartbreaking, and it has been one of the toughest child abuse trials for our prosecutors, court personnel, and jurors. No child should ever have to endure such evil acts. While there is nothing that we can do to bring Thomas back, we are satisfied with the jury's decision. Michael Valva subjected his sons to horrific abuse, neglect, and cruelty. He will now pay for cutting short the life of a young, innocent, defenseless boy who had a lifetime ahead of him. I thank the jury for their service because we have another case on the matter pending. I will not comment any further at this time. Okay, let me see here. What do we have here? And that, so, yeah, I think it is such a horrific case. Just to think about what that boy went through and how anybody could treat their kid like that. It's just disgusting. Hi, guy. So sad. All right. Okay. Let's go on to the next thing here. So we did Thomas Valva, we did that one. Did the road rage. We don't know about Dre McCray now. What else do I have on my... I just want to make sure we get to everything tonight. So we did the road rage, Lucy Letby, Marvin, OnlyFans. Oh, we have to do Delphi, the judge. Okay. So the Delphi... The defendant was moved. You know, even Scooter knows that where he's moved to. When then they kept saying he was in that local jail. He wasn't there. So what they're saying now that, and they announced that on the first day of his arrest. So whether they had to move him again, but the judge recused himself and said that, let's go over here. The judge overseeing the Delphi double murder case recused himself from the trial. Judge Benjamin Deerer comes just hours after he granted a motion to transfer the murder suspect, Richard Allen, from the county jail to a state prison for safekeeping. Allen has been moved from the Carroll County Jail to an undisclosed Indiana Department of Corrections facility. The Carroll County Sheriff said the move was necessary because Allen's safety was at risk due to the high-profile case. The Indiana Supreme Court appointed Allen County Judge Fran Gull as special judge in the case. According to the High Court, a judge is not required to give a reason for a recusal. Okay, let me go over here because... see if there's anything else going on. So, new judge, and I don't know why they're just announcing again him moving, because that was announced the first day. So I wonder if he was moved again, but they're saying from the Carroll County, it doesn't make any sense. Somebody said they moved him because the people are out for blood or something, and I know that was said, just something. Now there is the judge overseeing the double murder case of Richard M. Allen has issued a recusal. According to the sparse and scant public court docket in the matter, the decision to step away from the high-profile matter by Carroll County Circuit Court Judge Benjamin Deere came one day after the judge reportedly bemoaned to judicial branch officials and interesting to an Indianapolis television station about the pressures connected to this case. The recusal order is noted in a terse entry on the docket dated Thursday, November 3rd. It adds that a certification was submitted to the Indiana Supreme Court for selection of a special judge outside of Carroll County to hear the case. Now, the Indianapolis Star reported that the state's highest court was in the process of appointing Allen County Judge Fran Gall as the special judge in the case. Allen County surrounds Fort Wayne and is just about 1 hour and 45 minutes east-northeast of Delphi, where the murders occurred. Among the reasons which are not typical and when the judge's impartiality might reasonably be questioned, including when personal bias or judge is afoot, or when the judge's spouse or relatives are connected to the case at hand. Additional reasons for a disqualification include conflicts of interest that occur when a judge has served as an attorney or other advocate in the case, when a judge is a material witness in the proceeding, or when a judge accepts an appellate appointment and is asked to consider a case he handled as a trial attorney. If a judge disqualifies himself for bias or prejudice or for a conflict of interest, he need not provide a reason for the disqualification, according to Rule 2.11. Other forms of disqualification, such as a financial interest in the case, do require a judge to provide a reason for seeking to extricate himself from the proceeding at hand. It's unclear precisely why Judge Deere stepped away from Richard Allen's case. Let's see. Now it says his decision to entirely avoid the case came just one day after the Indianapolis NBC affiliate WTHR reported that Deere copied the television station on an email chain with Dolan, the court system's public information officer, to complain about the attention that the case was generating. Let's see. Judge Deere replied to the TV station by forwarding a chain of emails between himself and Dolan. From a PR standpoint, I am concerned that there is a sealed case with no case number available or known publicly, no PC, and no public hearing date to determine if the record should be sealed, Dolan had written to the judge, according to WTHR. I do suggest the court be clear with procedural information on what is public and when or why it is not public. The law contemplates the sealing of individual records, but keeping an entire docket sealed after a defendant is arrested is a more troublesome scenario, as Dolan pointed out. By way of comparison, in the federal court system, dockets and charging paperwork generally become public after a defendant is arrested, though sometimes charging paperwork, I have that spelled wrong, become public after a defendant is arrested, though sometimes the paperwork is partially redacted, especially in a multi-defendant case. The legal rationale for such openness is this: while charges and affidavits can remain secret, while the police and prosecutors build a case, the act of an arrest is considerable restraint on personal liberty, which is guaranteed under the 5th and 14th Amendments and must therefore not be done in secret. Dolan's advice, according to the TV station, was for Deere to be transparent. The press will continue asking for information to be made public, Dolan reportedly continued. While this does not mean the information is public or should be public, I do suggest the court be clear with procedural information on what is public and when or why it is not public. The judge reportedly responded by complaining that his court reporter was a brand new hire, that his bailiff answers the phone and has no experience and no knowledge about legal process, and that his court administrator had to split her duties with other courts. That is it, the judge wrote to Dolan. So I am begging for some assistance to shield me, the court, from this storm, so that I, the court, can keep running the court. Otherwise, I'll do what? The judge reportedly continued. Read to everyone Rule 6A of Indiana Rules of Court Rules on access to court records and explain to everyone that the Supreme Court and statute allows for this precise relief. It is not the court who has duty to notify the public. It is the prosecuting attorney's office as the requester, the judge reportedly went on, this time in apparent reference to Rule 6B1. It is honestly the judge's duty to reply to each non-party request for information and explain why when a request rendered confidential until a hearing. It is a logical impossibility to acknowledge the existence of the confidential information. Just sending the inquiry took 15 minutes of my time, the judge then reportedly noted. Imagine actually responding to each of these requests. Please advise. Diener's email, at least as contained in the report, did mention the role of the clerk of court's office in responding to requests for information. It also reportedly didn't take into account Rule 6's requirement or a concomitant requirement in Indiana's Access to Public Records Act. The public notice as a subsequent hearing must be made and scheduled to discuss in more vague terms whether the seal should remain in place on the subject's records. Okay, let's see here. According to the docket, Judge Diener is now off the case, so another judge will have to ponder those issues. It's officially unclear if the email played a direct role in Judge Diener's recusal, but the timing is noteworthy. Okay, so he's gone. Looked like he couldn't really cope with it, huh? All right, let's go and see what else we have here. Okay, what is this about now? Let's look at this. It's some news of the Murdaugh case here. A South Carolina teen who passed away 7 years ago has been linked to the convoluted case of a former legal scion who's set to be charged for the murder of his wife and son. The June 7, 2021 murders of Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh rocketed the family into national headlines. They were survived by the family patriarch, Alex, and the oldest son, Buster. The case continued through Alex Murdaugh's alleged suicide for hire scheme in early September that ended with Murdaugh in treatment for substance abuse, fired from the law firm, suspended from practicing law, and charged with insurance fraud and conspiracy. Earlier this week, sources said that murder charges against Alex Murdaugh are expected to come this week. The state law enforcement division will reportedly present its case to the grand jury in connection with Maggie and Paul's deaths. Last year, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division reopened the case of 19-year-old Stephen Smith following information uncovered during the Murdaugh double murder investigation. Smith was just 15 years old when he passed away suddenly in Hampton County. Police found Smith dead on the side of the road in 2015. He had a large gash on his head and a wound over his eyebrow. The coroner ultimately ruled Smith's death as accidental, involving a car that hit him. But SLED now has opened an investigation into the death of Stephen Smith based upon information that's been gathered during the course of the double murder investigation of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. Smith was classmates with Buster Murdaugh, that's the surviving son. Following Smith's death, Alex Murdaugh's brother allegedly contacted Smith's family and offered them free legal services. According to the state, investigators felt that Stephen Smith's death was a homicide and Buster's name was mentioned at least 9 times in the police report. No one has been charged yet in connection with Smith's death, but according to his mother, Sandy, he was killed for being gay. She said that she feels her son was killed during a homophobic hate crime. I do think it was because he was gay. I said that from the beginning. It was a hate crime. And she said that in an interview last year with Fox Carolina. Meanwhile, Alex remains in jail on a $7 million bond. Now, that would be something, wouldn't it be? Now, if the son is convicted, is charged with murder of Stephen Smith and the whole family. Wow, that's just a family gone wrong there. That is crazy. When you think you can't get crazy, or it gets crazier. What a case that is. Right? Every advantage in the world, and it becomes their downfall. So let's see here. Let's go back to this and let's see how are we doing on time. Okay, we're doing good on time. Okay, so we've got the Nick nurse. We took care of her, little Thomas Valva. Okay, so do we have this? Let me see if we have this. The woman, remember we went over this last week when she said that she was arrested or something for looking too good. And, well, there's a 911 call where she calmly describes the murder of her mother. Investigators in Las Vegas say Hen Bustami, 28, told a dispatcher that she killed her mother before eventually hanging up the call and fleeing into California, where she was taken into custody by highway troopers who said that she was found covered in blood. Her 61-year-old mother was found stabbed to death in the home that she shared with her daughter on October 26th. The 911 call, along with other records relating to Bustami's alleged activities since the summer, were obtained, and Bustami previously accused police of detaining her over an unpaid restaurant bill because she's just too good looking. But that wasn't her only run-in with police. Records now show that she was arrested for battery against a security guard in the Arts District in June. She was booked into the Clark County Jail and released, but failed to show for arraignment in July. A judge issued a bench warrant for her arrest, and then came the detention for skipping out on a Chili's bill on August 31st. Bustami appeared in court on September 2nd, but another bench warrant was issued on September 27th. The records show that the Las Vegas police answered 12 calls for service at the home in 2022, 7 of them for family disturbances, and then came the 2:30 a.m. call to police on October 26th. What do you think? What do you think you killed your mom? Why do you think you killed your mom? The dispatcher asked the caller. I'm sorry. Of course, I did. I murdered her. Why did you do it? I killed her. How did you kill her? I broke the table on her head and I cut her neck off. Bustami gave the dispatcher the address, but she was gone by the time police arrived. Police believe the caller was Bustami, who hung up shortly after her admission. She was arrested at about 5 a.m. in Barstow, California, and allegedly told investigators there, too, that she had killed her mother. She remained in jail in San Bernardino County on a fugitive warrant Friday morning, with a hearing scheduled for Wednesday. She will eventually be extradited to Nevada to face charges. And let's see, this is the 911 call, I think. Let's see. Hold on. It's not a ad on it, so I'll just let the ad play. Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Medical, I think I killed my mommy.
What's your address?
South June Drive.
Oh, South what?
June Drive.
Why do you think you killed your mom?
Because I did. I murdered her.
How did you do that?
Yeah. I broke the table on her head, and I broke it.
You did what with the table? Can I get medical 8759? Where are you?
I'm at my mom's house. I'll give you the address.
You said with June Flower.
Yeah,
Okay, what did you do to her?
I killed her.
How did you kill her? You said something about a table?
I broke the table on your head.
You dropped the table on her head?
I broke the table on her head and I cut her neck off.
And you cut what?
Her neck off?
Where are you at now?
I'm in the car in the water.
What kind of car are you in?
Finley out.
Okay, so that was great. That's crazy. Okay, and let's see. So I think we will call that and see. I'll bring people on, see what anybody thinks of any of that. So is anybody shocked with the Thomas Valva verdict for Michael Valva? Did anybody think he should be convicted on the lesser charge? Hi there, Ruby Putman. Thanks for joining us, Ruby. Hi, Sean Sneed. Hi, Debbie D. Hi, Sherry M. Valva's, he's. I'm sure he's gonna get life. No, not shocked. Glad he was guilty. Yeah. What a horrific. I can't. No, he wasn't convicted on a lesser charge, Kevin. He wasn't. So, and what about, no, he wasn't, thankfully, no, he wasn't convicted on the lesser charge. And about if that Buster is connected to the murder of that Stephen Smith in the Murdaugh case, that will really be just really something, right? Oh my gosh. Put him in a cell with no heat and make him eat. Yeah, right, exactly, Captain Lee Fan, exactly. And spray him with take him outside in 19-degree temperature and spray him with a hose and throw him back in an unheated cement floor, right? Unbelievable. And then her trial is due to start in January. Crazy, crazy. The news pulled... Yeah, what is going on with that? So, did he pass away or not, Kevin? Has she...
Kevin said he's been trying to find that out for 2 days now. He can't figure it out either, so.
So weird. But there was someone that said they were going out with the father, and now I guess the father doesn't. I don't know. It's so messed up. That is so messed up. Has she surfaced at all? When's the last time she's been on a video or anything, Kevin?
She hasn't surfaced.
No?
Uh-uh.
I wonder how she's supporting herself.
I don't know. The last thing I heard that was that he was moved to a nursing home.
Right.
She's not surfaced. And if this isn't legit of him passing, you know how cruel that is of her to do something like that?
Yeah.
To put something out there like that? And with her not wanting his family around him, I could actually see her doing that just to keep him away from what she's pulled before.
Yeah, I hear you. Crazy. I don't know. So crazy. So anyway, Saturday's going to be, I think we're doing the auction tomorrow around 9. I'll put it down. And also, we're going to set the clocks back tomorrow night, which you will get an extra hour of sleep, but also it's going to get dark earlier, which is crappy.
Well, we're up all night, Carol. We're up all night, so it's good for us.
Yeah. But it's crappy. It's going to be dark. Oh, I can't stand when it gets dark earlier. I just hate it so much.
Yeah.
But unless you live in Arizona, is Arizona the only state that doesn't have daylight savings times?
Yes, the answer is yes. I lived there.
Yeah, but I think there's another. Isn't there another?
It's called Mountain Time.
Yeah, but no,
But
they don't. Right, they don't. Yeah, but there's other states that have mountain time, but they turn the clocks back.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think there's another. Hawaii doesn't do it, do they? I don't know. Let me look it up while I'm sitting here. Three states. All states but Hawaii, okay, I was right, and Arizona observe daylight savings time. And then it says, but where's the, and Puerto Rico doesn't observe it, and the Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands also do not observe daylight savings time. Why can't we get on that? Hate it so much. It used to be earlier, right? And then they moved it to after Halloween.
Yes. Yeah.
71% of Americans don't like switching their clocks back and forth twice a year. 40% would rather prefer to have standard time year-round. Let's see. The first person credited with suggesting the idea of changing our clocks to take advantage of the longer summer days was Benjamin Franklin when he was living in Paris. But the man credited with getting the ball rolling was a British builder named William Willett, who suggested the idea to Parliament as a way for the nation as a whole to make better use of daylight. However, Germany was the first to implement the practice of seasonal time changes. Desperate to save energy during the First World War, the policy quickly caught on with most European nations. The U.S. and the United Kingdom, along with its allies, adopting the daylight savings time by 1918. However, many nations got rid of the system in the years after the war to adopt it again when there was a need to conserve energy. so depressing. Anyway, but we're going to have fun. We're going to play the real estate game in 8 minutes. So if you've never played the real estate game with us, I'm going to put the redirect on this video. Let me do that right now. And it'll redirect you right to the real estate game. And it'll be really fun. Let me see. Customize. Come on, customize. I like it when it's light out till 9 p.m. too, Kevin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do too. And it just, all this changing the time just messes with our bodies and everything so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crappy. Crappy. Hi, LMNW. LMNW, I think I sent you press 2, didn't I? Yeah, I think so. And let me see. Hi, Christina. The worst is when it's dark in the morning and it's a snowstorm outside and one still has to go to work. Well, I can do one better. Sunday we're doing Christmas at my dad's and stepmom before they go to Texas for winter. Christmas before Thanksgiving. How crazy. Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
When, Captain Lee, are you still moving to Florida? And if so, when are you going to do that? Barb says, where I live in the summer, it is still light at 10:30 p.m.
Wow.
Hi, Ruby. I love fall. Ruby loves fall. Where do you live, Ruby? Do you live somewhere where it's warm? Oh, you're not moving there anymore? That's off the table? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that. You're going to stay planted where you are? Okay. Good to know. Hey, Sherry says, we got snow yesterday. 1.5 inches. And today you couldn't even tell.
Mm.
Yeah, Ruby, they found him guilty. Yep. What a monster. So let me see here. What a monster. So what else happened today? I don't know. I don't, yeah. Auction tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Yeah, I think so. I'm just making sure because you never know. Like, I hate to say something and then somebody comes up with this thing. Yeah, I should have just put it there. I know. Maybe I'll do it tonight or before I go. Okay, I'm gonna redirect early since we're ready. I'll just redirect. So come on over and enjoy the game with us. Kick back, relax. Let's get out of this true crime. Let's try to enjoy Friday night. All right, so come right over.